folk tales and their portrayals. In this lesson, I tried to take you around how the Indian folk tales have been central themes of painting, sculpture and art for over centuries. Though it is difficult to portray the true images of Rama and Sita in various art forms since the times that Ramayana is believed to have occurred, the major forms of art and sculpture is replete with visuals of the Ramayana and Mahabharata besides its various celebrating events. Likewise, it is difficult to portray that the true images of these local heroes and heroines stories in native or regional cultures through art forms, yet folk tales weave around various art forms such as paintings and sculpture that were as old as the times of that it is believed to have happened. Yet from the ancient times to the modernist era, the Ramayana and Mahabharata and the characters appear to have been capturing the imagination of the artist without a break. To enlighten the students about the manner various art forms have attempted to capture the events and folk tales including Ramayana and Mahabharata and other genres of stories in local languages. To inform the learners about the significance of such paintings and other art forms in preserving these unique culture of villages and regions. To provide a classification of folk tales for the appreciation of the students of visual communication. Folk tales and folklore both refer to the same folk culture only. It is an oral record of history that is preserved by the people of the culture consisting of traditions belonging to the specific culture. These traditions usually include music, stories, history, legends and myths. It is difficult to generalize widely about the folklore of India as a unit. Although India is a Hindu majority country with more than 3/4 of the population identifying themselves as Hindus, there is no single unified and all pervading concept of identity present in it. It is because of the flexible nature of Hinduism which allows various heterogeneous traditions, numerous regional cultures and even different religions to grow and flourish. Folk religion in Hinduism may explain the rationale behind local religious practices and contain local myths that explain the existence of local religious customs of the rituals. These sorts of local variations have higher status in Hinduism than comparable customs would have in religions such as Christianity or Islam. It does not mean that there are no variants in the folklore of Christianity and Islam. Different countries across the world, Middle East and African continents have different biblical or Islamic faiths differing with one common Bible followed by Vatican or Quran adopted by Mecca of Saudi Arabia. However, folklore as currently understood goes beyond religious or supplement beliefs and practices and encompasses the entire body of social tradition whose chief vehicle of transmission is of outside institutional channels. There are different constituents of folk tales or folklores. They are folk songs, folk tales, fairy tales, tall tales, ballads, folk dramas, proverbs, charms and riddles, etc. Typically, they are understood as 5 types of stories: myths, sagas, fables, folk tales and fairy tales. They include material culture ranging from traditional building styles to handmade toys common to the group. Folklore also includes customary lore, the forms of rituals of celebrations such as Diwali, Holi, Pongal, Christmas and weddings, folk dances and initiation of rites, etc. Folk tales, folklore are meant for the entertainment of rural populace. It is a pastime activity of the rural people. They are found often even in semi-urban settings. They can be used to help children develop strong reading skills, study other cultures, model positive character traits and discover love of stories. A number of fictitious folk tales were developed to immerse children in timeless stories and help them discover a love of reading. Example, Amar Chitra Kahani. Many folk tales were used to explain things that were difficult to understand, to discipline or frighten children or to provide a moral lesson. Whereas the myth is at its core of origins of people, the characteristics of a folk tale and is often regarded as sacred characters. Folklore is a collection of fictional tales about the people or animals. Superstitions and unfounded beliefs are important elements in the folklore tradition. Both myths and folklore were originally circulated orally. The folk and tribal arts of India speak volumes about the country's rich heritage. Art forms in India have been exquisite and explicit. Folk art forms include various schools of art like the Mughal school, Rajasthani school, Nakashi art school, etc. Each school has its own distinct style of color, combinations or figures and its features. Other popular folk art forms include Madhubani paintings from Bihar, Kangra painting from Himachal Pradesh and Varli paintings from Maharashtra, Tanjore paintings from South India incorporate real gold into their paintings. Local fairs, festivals, deities and heroes various play a vital role in this art form. Some famous folk and tribal arts of India include Tanjore art, Madhubani painting, Nirmal paintings, Valli folk paintings, Pattachitra painting, Rajasthani miniature painting, Kalam Jitu. For the purpose of informing and enlightening the students of visual communication, I shall try to introduce to them the Varli folk paintings, folk arts. The Varlis are indigenous tribe or Adivasis living in mountainous as well as coastal areas of Maharashtra, Gujarat border and surrounding areas. They have their own animistic beliefs, life, custom and traditions. As a result of acculturation, they have adopted mainly Hindu beliefs. The Varlis speak an unwritten Varli language classified as Konkani, which belongs to the southern zone of the Indo-Aryan languages. Varlis are found in Jauhar, Mokhada, Dahanu and Talasari talukas of the northern Palghat district, parts of Nashik, Dhule districts of Maharashtra, Valsad, Dangs, Navasari and Surat districts of Gujarat and the union territories of Dadra and Nagar, Daman and Dayu. In the book The Painted World of the Varlis, Yashodhara Dalmia claimed that the Varlis carry on a traditional stretching back to 2500 or 3000 BC era. Their mural paintings are similar to those done between 500 and 10,000 BC era in the rock shelters of Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. Their extremely rudimentary wall paintings use a very basic graphic vocabulary, a circle, a triangle and a square. Their paintings were monosyllabic. The circle and triangle come from their observation of nature, the circle representing the sun and the moon, the triangle covered from mountains and pointed trees. Only the square seems to obey a different logic and seems to be a human invention, indicating a sacred enclosure or a place of land. So, the central motive in each ritual painting is the square, known as the chauk or chaukat, mostly of the two types, Dev Chauk and Lagna Chauk. Inside a Dev Chauk, we find a Palaghata, the mother goddess symbolizing fertility. Significantly, male gods are unusual among the Varli and are frequently related to spirits which have taken human shape. The central motive, these ritual paintings, is surrounded by scenes portraying hunting, fishing and farming, festivals and dances, trees and animals. Human and animal bodies are represented by two triangles joined at the tip. The upper triangle depicts the trunk and the lower triangle the pelvis. Their precarious equilibrium symbolizes the balance of the universe and of the couple and has the practical and amusing advantage of animating the bodies. The pared down pictorial language is matched by a rudimentary technique. The ritual paintings are usually done inside the huts. The walls are made of mixture of branches, earth and cow dung, making a red ochre background for the wall paintings. The Varli art uses only white for their paintings. Their white pigment is a mixture of rice paste and water with gum as binding. They use a bamboo stick chewed at the end to make it as a supple as a paint brush. The wall paintings are done only for special occasions such as weddings or harvests. The lack of regular artistic activity explains the very crude style of their paintings, which were the preservers of the women folk until the late 1970s. But in the 1970s, this ritual art took a radical turn when Jivyasoma Mashi and his son Balu Mashi started to paint not for any special ritual but because of his artistic pursuits. Varli painting also featured in Coca-Cola's Come Home on Diwali ad campaign in 2010 was a tribute to the spirit of India's youth and recognition of the distinct lifestyle of the Varli tribe of Western India. The Varli were traditionally semi-nomadic. They lived together in small scale groups with a headman leading them. However, recent demographic changes have transformed the Varlis today into mainly agriculturists. They cultivate many crops like rice and wheat. Varli women wear toerings and necklaces as sign of being married. Some Varlis practice Pali Gaini. Likewise, I would show you how Nirmal folks as community made a niche for themselves in developing a unique form of art, as you can see in the Nirmal folk art given below. Nirmal paintings. Nirmal paintings are a popular form of paintings done in Nirmal district former Adilabad district, Telangana, India, form a small scale industry in the town. The craftsmen have formed a community and stay at Nirmal and practice their art in the form of small scale business. The paintings have golden hues. Thus, art form has derived its name from the place of its origin, Nirmal. The evolution of the Nirmal art goes back to the days of Kakatiya dynasty. This art was practiced in the 14th century by a group of artisans who are known as Nakwash. The Mughals loved the art so much that they patronized the skill and art. It was in the 1950s that Lady Haidari brought these artisans to the princely state of Hyderabad and promoted their craft. The colors of these paintings are extracted from minerals, herbs and various other plants. The themes of these paintings have drawn influence from Ajanta and other Mughal art. The painting of this dazzling gold are set against the backdrop of black. The first step is to lacquer the wood surface and then paint the precise design on it. Other designs can be traced and then drawn with the help of chalk. Then the paintings happen with the bright colors and finally touched with gold and then varnished. These toys are made from the extract of herbs which are given golden finishing. These toys are human occupations and animals. They are made up of wood and then the painting is done over it. The folklores and the folktales have been an eternal part of every culture since ages. When it comes to Indian folktales, the country of diverse religions, languages and cultures has a complete range of tales and short stories. Indian folklore has a wide range of stories and mythological legends which emerge from all walks of life. The interesting stories range from the remarkable Panchatantra to Hitopadesha, from Jataka to Akbar, Birbal, etc. Not only this, the great Indian epics like Ramayana and Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita are full of didactic stories inspired from the lives of great souls. Being full of moralistic values, Indian folklores make perfect stories for children who are required to be instilled with right values. All these ancient stories have been passed from generation to generation, creating bondage of traditional values with present day generation. The Hitopadesha is a remarkable compilation of short stories composed by Narayan Pandit. Hitopadesha has had its origin around 1000 years ago. In Indian literature, the Hitopadesha is regarded more or less similar to the Panchatantra. In the vein of Panchatantra, the Hitopadesha was also written in Sanskrit and following the pattern of prose and verse. Hitopadesha tales are written in reader-friendly way, which also contributed to the success of this bestseller after Bhagavad Gita. In India, since its origin, Hitopadesha has been translated into numerous languages to benefit the readers all over the world. In 300 BC, the Jataka tales were written for the mankind to gain knowledge and morality. Ever since, Jataka tales have become story books that are being enjoyable as well as knowledgeable. Originally written in Pali language, Jataka's Buddhist tales have been translated in different languages around the world. The luminous fables of Jataka are intended to impart values of self-sacrifice, morality, honesty and other informative values to people. The Panchatantra is a legendary collection of short stories from India. Originally composed in the 2nd century BC, Panchatantra is believed to be written by Vishnu Sharma along with many other scholars. The purpose behind the composition was to implant moral values and governing skills in the young sons of the king. The ancient Sanskrit textbooks boast of various animal stories in verse and prose. During all these centuries, many authors and publishers worked hard to make these fables accessible and readable by laymen. The grand assortment has extraordinary tales that are liked, perhaps even loved by people of every age group. Different perspectives and classification of folk tales and folklore. Folktales are important pedagogic tools for generations. Folktales are part of folklore. Folklore is an oral tradition of a particular society or community or a group of folks. Folktales are as important as other artistic or literary works. In this lesson, I tend to explain how different scholars have categorized folktales, adopting this classification from Shubha Tiwari's work on the folktales and folklore. It is important to understand the perspective on which the classification is based. While one classification bases itself on psychological types, the other relies on cultural types. When we study folk tales as a literary genre, we need to understand all perspectives. Various scholars have given classification and definitions of folk tales, but these classification systems alone seem to be insufficient. The study of folk tales is important to understand their places and significance in society. Researchers and scholars are working on re-establishing venerable place of folk tales in modern times. This paper aims at defining and classifying folk tales. This paper focuses at comprehensive study of folk tales as a genre. Oral storytelling was an integral part of life in good old times. It used it to create and nurture a deep bond between grandparents and grandchildren. So many values, wise thoughts, samskaras used to go down from one generation to another generation through oral storytelling. Royal Institute Dictionary 1999 gives definition of the tales as the stories that are passed down orally from generation, such as Jataka tales and the tales of Aesop. There are definitions of tales given by scholars like King Attakoran 1976. They tell us that tales not run through generations. They are passed down from parents to their children and grandchildren. These tales are an important part of our culture. They are part and parcel of our traditions. Most of the tale traditions are oral in nature. The basic nature of folk tales is reflected through the spoken word. Folk tales are flexible. Folk tales details are less important. Only message is important. The main aim of the tale is to entertain. They create an atmosphere which brings joy, enhances happiness, and lessens the day-to-day burden of life. The purpose of tales is to bring fun and enjoyment. The other aim of the tales is to train young minds and set their standards of morality. Its moral function sometimes comes naturally, sometimes it is added to the tale intentionally. Tales are not meant only for children, they are designed for the grown-ups as well. The tales of grown-ups are apt only for them. Kurlap Millikamas said that tales are the stories that are oral. They are narrated by the people to provide entertainment. They are part of our traditions. They are our heritage literature. These are stories which help in strengthening faith in divinity. They are holy in nature and bring mankind closer to God. They serve various purposes such as giving moral lessons. They help us to develop better coordination with the environment and the laws of nature. The tales are stories which offer different moods and shades of human nature, such as adventurous, jealous, comic, superhuman or supernatural. There are varieties of characters in folk tales. Folk tales have humans as characters. They also have supernatural characters. There are kings and queens, prince and princesses on the one hand. On the other hand, there are common laborers, workers and housewives. Then there are ghosts, witches, angels, gnomes and mermaids. Each character is unique. The characters behave as per the setting of the story. They have their own code of conduct. A psychological study of the mentality of characters would be interesting. Sometimes they behave like ordinary human beings and yet sometimes they outperform themselves. They become extraordinary. Most of the folk tales are an effective lesson in the law of karma. Many times a person is served with the same gloves with which he or she treats others. They teach wisdom. Folk tales may be defined as short stories of unknown authorship which are transmitted orally for centuries, and during their journey some of them are recorded in text form. Folk tales are stories of people and how they narrate how folks live and learn. Imaginative power of folks gives the stories better form and content. Indian folk tales are both in words and prose, lyrics, ballads and poetic. A.K. Ramanujam gives a unique definition of folk tales in preface to his book Folk Tales from India, a poetic text that carries some of its cultural context within it. It is also a travelling metaphor that finds a new meaning with each of new telling. Folk tales are fluid in nature. Ramanujan says that no selection can truly represent the multiple and changing lives of Indian tales. His definition of folk tales does not limit the tales to oral or written forms. He frees the tales from oral and prosaic forms and presents them as our Indian folk tales truly exist. He goes on to tell us that folk tales are literature of dialects of villages, street, kitchen, tribal, hut and wayside tea shop. They are common to rural folks. Folk tales travel by themselves. They help the cultural exchange. They travel when they are told. Folk tales are cross-linguistic boundaries when a bilingual person tells it or hears it. The structure of folk tales does not change from teller to teller, but cultural details get changed. There are no watertight compartments of categories to classify folk tales. Efforts are made by various scholars to classify and categorize folk tales in various ways. Classification of folk tales can be done on patterns, themes, content and purpose of tale telling. Folklorists have contributed a lot to define and classify the folk tales. Indian folk tales are unique. Their classification must be done accordingly. Indian folklorists have contributed a lot to classify Indian folk tales. A.K. Ramanujan is well known as a poet, translator and humanist. He received the prestigious Padma Shri Award from the Government of India in 1976. He inspired a generation of scholars in Indian literature, folklore and linguistics. Ramanujan's classification therefore is unique and detailed. Ramanujan's classification is also important because it is a complete Indian point of view. India has a wide, complex and diverse culture. In maintaining traditional languages and customs from different region, religion and groups, we need a clear understanding of folk tales. Male-centered tales. The male is the doer in such tales. A man usually leaves his native place in search of a job or some hidden treasure or just to complete a responsibility. In the process, he faces many challenges. He overcomes the problem and is successful in the end. He is rewarded by wealth. Often he is rewarded by bride in the end. Many folk tales end in marriage. Women-centered tales. In these tales, women outshine men. Women are shown active, brave and intelligent. They often help men who are in trouble. In these tales, roles are reversed. Men are stupid and women are intelligent or wise. One example is of the clever daughter-in-law who escapes tyranny of her mother-in-law and establishes her place in family. In another Kashmiri folk tale named The Wife Who Refused to be Beaten, a young woman deftly tackles marital conflict by her wit and intelligence. She refuses to be ill-treated. They have control over the situation. They rescue males who are often stupid and weak. Family-centered tales. Indian society has always been about family. Ramanujan says that a psychological reading of these tales reveals about Indian family structure, competition, love, hatred, cooperation, incest and betrayal within the family. Family is the world. The setting is patriarchal. Therefore, a feminist reading is also imperative. In the end, these tales are all about benevolence within the family. The story of Savitri is relevant in this regard. Divinity-centered tales. In these tales, magic, supernatural beings, forest spirits, demons, Brahmarakshasas, magic pots and plants are there to provide awe and amusement. In these tales, gods appear living and behaving like human beings. They perform all bodily functions. In these tales, supernatural beings are defeated and befooled by ordinary humans. Indians have their theory of fate, bhagya and human efforts, karma. Many of these stories tell us that a human cannot fight against the fate, but many tales affirm that we decide our own fate by hard work and effort. This reaffirms the Indian philosophy of swabhava, to each his own. Animal-centered tales. Animal-centered tales. Ramanujan goes further into his own classification with animal-centered tales. There is a huge treasure in the form of Jataka tales and Panchatantra, which humanize animals and pass on eternal values in an interesting manner. The story of the monkey and the crocodile, the tortoise and the geese, the cave that talked are some popular examples. Humorous tales. As the name suggests, these tales make us laugh and enjoy. Tenali Rama and Akbar Birbal are some of the well-known examples. Gopal Bhar was one of the 9 gems of the court of Raja Krishna Chandra of medieval Bengal. Stories of Gopal Bhar are witty and comical. They amuse children. In this lesson, I have tried to explain how folk tales and folklore have influenced generations down since the prehistorical times. Though Ramayana and Mahabharata are epics, even small events of these gigantic holy texts have been rendered into folk tales, folklore, which has been colored to folk paintings. These folk paintings have served as canvas behind the various art forms such as drama, ballads and decorated the temple walls and palace walls. In fact, such well-designed folk paintings have been central to puppetry, which is a very common art form across India.